not personally invested. You know what I mean? Like, it's I'm a grown man, right? So I was rooting from the out. It's like I won't, maybe the analogy will come to me. I'm rooting from the outside, but when it goes bad on them, it goes from the outside to the inside real close. I'm like, ooh, buddy, so bad. It's like he was getting so many good looks, and now he's getting all the opposite looks, like
Yeah,
opposite.
yeah.
This nigga's in a house
Uh,
of mirrors.
I think the problem here is like it's just like it's never safe, right? Like whatever stardom, whatever celebrity you think you have is never safe as a black man. And then also like it's definitely not safe if you're fucking with white women. Like it's like 100% not safe if you're fucking with white women. And that's not to say that like um the black male celebrities who fuck with white women all do the same thing. Some of them don't like even let you know that they're doing that. You know what I mean? And I
Jamie
don't know,
Foxx.
like Jamie Foxx, exactly. Exactly. Jamie Foxx is not like you don't consider him in that category because of just how on the low. He was on the low with Katie Holmes for like a decade.
Like
Like a
niggas really
decade
still don't
straight.
actually know. Like we know, but we don't. And just
Yeah,
because it's like,
yeah,
what proof? Where's your proof at? Where? What proof you got
yeah.
of that? But even that, okay,
But
it's just such an odd conversation too, because it's like I don't know what to say is right and what to say is wrong. Is it like, is it okay that he was dating? It's okay to date white women, kinda like, for, you know what I mean? Like it's all right. It's like this joke I never finished. Like every time I would be going out in the city and I would be like, waiting for the train and I would see a black dude with a white girl, I would look at this like, oh, this corny ass nigga. And then I would look at my wife, my white wife who was next to me. Like, see, that's the thing about it. Like the dissonance is it's not like you stop thinking that though. It's not like you know what I mean. You have, from the outside, you all have the same outside reaction.
yeah,
Like
I mean,
everybody
I,
likes interracial porn and nobody likes interracial couples.
well, that's the joke. That's the joke right there. Everybody likes interracial porn. Nobody likes interracial couples. I am, man, like, I think it's probably best from like a journalistic and just regular storytelling perspective to just like go over what happened,
Yes,
right?
please.
So, and the last few months have been a lot of happenings for Jonathan Majors. It hasn't just been this; it's been like a steady kind of upward climb, even if you count the last 3 years. So he was on Lovecraft Country. He was um, he was before that on in a movie called The Last Black Man in San Francisco, which is
Didn't
also
he
like, dude,
part of the fall too?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He was in The Harder They Fall. He was like one of the major villains, right? So it's been like kind of like great move after great move for him, which is like, uh-oh. This is like whenever it's
Ant
that,
Man, hosting Saturday Night
yeah.
Live. It's really all
Creed,
like,
yo, I
chill,
saw
chill,
Creed.
chill, chill.
I saw Creed, and he was on in Creed. Like he is absolutely before all this an Oscar nominee. In my mind, he's clearly an Oscar nominee, and I say that about a movie that other than Coogler and him, is not Oscar worthy. Like
Right.
Coogler's direction, his performance, Oscar. Everything else, crown fried. You know what I mean? Like they ain't on it like that.
But
You know what I mean?
that's the brand. It's a Crown Fried brand. Excuse me. It's a Famiglia's. It's Famiglia's
Yes,
Pizza.
yes, yes. It's very familiar. It's very famous rays. You know what I mean? Like very. Yo, Koku's in the building. What up, Koku? Oh man, Koku TV is always a pleasure. So he basically had this rise over the last 3-4 years, and it culminated. It's like all those small moves hit this year, and they all hit with a major punch. It was like the accumulation of all his best work, which also like could have a nigga's head gassed a little bit. Like it could have a nigga's head kind of inflated.
Can I pause for a second? You
Yeah.
saying that his Creed performance is Oscar worthy is not surprising to me, considering how unfunny he was on Saturday Night Live. It's like he's like, oh, you can't. You're such an actor now. You can't even be funny.
Yeah, yeah.
You know
He's
what I'm saying?
he's so
He's
method.
so deep. He's so method, right? Exactly. Like, Daniel Day Lewis couldn't fucking host Saturday Night Live. It's never gonna work. It's never because he's just Andy Kaufmaning the whole thing the entire time.
Yeah, yeah. And but that's also like a testament to like when you're radioactive hot in Hollywood, that's always fake. Like it could never be never be McDonald's fries hot. You know what I mean? Like don't get to scalding, like because then you don't want to be like you don't want to be stepping your girlfriend's shot. Like
I'm getting robotics on my end. I hope that's not for every.
steady temperature raising. Not it's okay, but never get scalding hot in Hollywood, especially not as a black man. Take your time, bro. Like
I
pump
always
your
said,
brakes.
you know this. I always say I want to be Hank Azaria famous. Hank Azaria
Right.
is a nigga who's famous enough to anywhere he needs to go and be famous. He's famous, but if he's walking in the street, by the time you recognize, you know who he is. He's gone. That's the kind of famous that's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And first of all, Kobe said she screamed laughing, which is great. This is really why we do it. So I think when that all happened, because he's like his pedigree is Yale MFA, like Yale MFA. So he's there with all the top level people. He's like inside the actor studio level. Like he's in
It
the
seems
crowd.
so.
He's in the
It
circles.
seems so.
Yeah, he's in the circles, right? And so all that happens. And look, I would say he put on enough for us and in enough works that address blackness that I think it was safe to just be like, all right, like
Root
we're
for him.
here
Hell
with it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And there's no reason not to. And there's no reason not to. And there's no reason to get like, emotional about him. It just seemed like a lot of positives were rolling out. And when this stuff happened, so over the weekend, so it hasn't even really been a full week. He was arrested in an altercation with now an unnamed accuser, right? And the accuser it's been reported as a woman. We believe it's a woman he's been dating, right? Then the internet kind of ran with the arrest story because there were in the police report it was that she had marks on her wrist, and then there was also a rumor of strangulation, like marks on the neck, right? And so that, yeah, exactly, all bad, bro. And then when I went and looked, I was like, okay, I knew the murmurs were that he dates white women and he exclusively does, right? So it's like there's two classes of there's three tiers of dating white women. There's
I need
me
my
who hides them.
Kofi to come down. There's the Kofi to come down right now. Yeah.
But let's listen to the three tiers. There's me who hides them, right? There's dudes who in certain environments they're like social smokers. Like I'll socially date a white woman. You know what I mean? Like I think some of us, I think you're like a social smoker. You know what I mean? Like I might if I'm around them.
I'm really probably the third, but it's like performance. I get that as Jamie Foxx. I got it. Yeah, okay. We dabble, but it's personal. We just keep this personal, right? I don't want to put this in everybody's face. I don't need everybody else to have to deal with it. You know what I mean? If I smoke cigarettes, I don't want you getting secondhand smoke.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yeah, and so he seemed like he was like God tier though. He was like that tier where you're like, is this our pimp? You know what I mean? Like this is scary. Like the way they be around each other. Like, no, don't talk unless you spoken to. Like give
They
him a
don't. I'm
stern
gonna be
look.
honest. I looked at them and said, that don't look right." And that's racist as hell. But it's like that. It's like remember the dude with the Jerry curls? Like you see a fine woman like a little white girl on a black man arm, something wrong. Like it's just some
So
steak on the plate shit. Like I just don't. It feel like y'all doing something.
so I scrubbed his Wikipedia page and just I wanted to take a look. And he's a father, right? Like Cokes mentioned that he's a father, so it's not like on Front Street that he is. You know what I mean? Like, and then on the Wikipedia, it was like an anonymous mother of the baby. So I was like, oh, you keeping white women anonymous? You on another level, bro. Like you on another level, dog.
That's
So
not a good, you never want to be on that level because like anonymous baby sound a little too Karl Malone, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, yeah, no, that's a very it's giving yeah, it's definitely
it's too Karl
giving
Malone. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's giving Jalen Rose's dad. You know what I'm saying? Giving oh
Wow.
Al Horford, he was on that. He was Tito Horford was on that Secret Daddy vibes. So yeah, I mean when when that started to come out, I was like, all right. And then two tweets came out from directors and or people who were in his like acting and career circles, and they were like, basically, he's a chronic abuser, and folks have known, but folks haven't said anything because they weren't the people abused, and they didn't want to bring up trauma for anyone who might have gone through an experience, right? So I was like, oh man, like how I was like, you know, how deep are Disney's pockets right now? Because they're gonna have to go into the cash reserves to make this nigga not look like OJ. Like to make him not look like OJ, they're gonna have to do a lot of scrubbing.
Right.
And yeah, but what do you think? I mean, what was your reaction once
So
you heard shit?
remember, I've been using Diet OJ recently, and he's way more actually a Diet OJ than Will Smith, even though Will Smith got treated like Diet OJ because of the profile of what happened, right? It's like it's really kind of an innocuous kind of thing that should have happened culturally, but because it happened in the public floor, it turned into this whole thing of outrage. But like really being about somebody being like it's that I'll talk about all the time. You look at them in 1 minute and they're the most charismatic person you ever looked at, and you look at them in the next minute and they're an absolute psychopath. Like that shit, that kind of is what OJ was an experience of. If we're here's what's so crazy, Drew. It's still hard for me to be honest about what happened with OJ though. I feel like I'm betraying black people if I'm honest. Like, hold on, are we still
Well listen, and Coco bring up a good point. She says a smack though, like any kind of hitting, is no longer innocuous.
No.
Right?
Okay. Now, if you actually know my perspective, I'm mad. Like, I think that shit was totally whack. Like, I'm not at all actually forgiving of his behavior, any parts of it. Like, in our culture, certain people were, nah, I didn't feel it at all. I thought it was ridiculous. But it was in reality, that is like historically, that's like a Frenchman grabbing his white kerchief and how dare you besmirch the honor. That's what that shit was, right? Like danger wise, that is really it's dangerous because he is larger than Chris, but that's two men who really could have just gotten into a fight. That's all it would have been. Two men to get into a fight. Get into a fight, motherfucker. Like you hit somebody, they hit you back. You take a risk of that another grown man hits you back.
Yeah.
Private abuse, that the domestic aspect. There's a level of
inter-partner violence.
That's just different. It's just a whole different thing, and because we know just about like statistically, right? Like the potential for death is significant there in reality if you just look at the numbers, right? Once you get into abuse, when you go from abuse to death, that's a bell curve, right? Once you start the ramp on the bell curve, it actually exceeds really quickly, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like that's, you know, it's serious, and I have no interest in being in doing this, right? Like I have more interest in going, yay, Jonathan, great, but like, nah, I'm not gonna like no, because I don't. We tried to fucking sweep R. Kelly under the rug, right? Because we knew we saw. I was a teenager
Right.
and I saw that motherfucking video, dog, and our culture kind of just let it be, and then the nigga abused dozens of more people, fam. It's like,
Right. So that's what it seems like was unveiled after the weekend incident about Jonathan Majors. Is like once the one thing came out, almost the same way his fame worked. Like once you blew up on this side, now your biggest secrets is the biggest they've ever been too. And so apparently, chronic abuser is a label that people were willing to come out and say now. Like finally, like, okay, we're gonna say it. And then he lawyered up real quick, and his lawyers were like, yeah, we're gonna release basically like exonerating evidence that's gonna like drop all this. He's completely innocent. He's provably innocent. And he was the victim of the altercation, which is some lawyer shit. Lawyers always want to take it the extra, like, okay, like let's say he's innocent and all the legal terms and all, but to be like, and he was also actually the victim. Like, all right, nigga, like we didn't see how many.
Don't, because I'm only going to address the legal base for it, because that's to say that no, if he actually was attacked, if the order of events from my legal perspective is that he was attacked, and that what you're seeing is evidence of him responding to being attacked, right? You can take that. That's the same evidence telling the opposite story, right? It's like,
Okay.
see, that's what, and I get that. Having been a paralegal, I get that that's also fucking valid.
So then they say they have video, text messages, and I guess an eyewitness account from a driver. Maybe they were in an Uber, like they're in a cab of some kind before in the argument in the night. And so these are the text messages that they say were sent by his accuser. This is what his lawyers say. Tell me what of this you can see. I'm gonna make sure you can see the entire screen. Okay.
And now move.
Let me make it a little bigger.
Now move it over to this. Yeah. All right. A little more, okay. Just a little bit more.
Like that.
A little bit more. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay, that was all I could do. I can read it though.
All right. You do it.
I can read it aloud. So it says, please. Well, actually, let me read his texts because they're in the blue highlighted. He says, did you leave the keys? Goodbye, redacted. Right? So her name's not in there. Then she replies, please let me know you're okay when you get this. They assured me that you won't be charged. They said they had to arrest you as protocol when they saw the injuries on me, and they knew we had a fight. I'm so angry that they did. First of all, hold up. Let's rewind to that last sentence of your text. This is so wild. It's like, yo, it's very much like it's giving white women mental judo, because it's like, please let me know you're okay. They assured me that you won't be charged. They said they had to arrest you as protocol when they saw the injuries on me. I was like, oh no, the injuries on me. Oh no, Jonathan.
Hey, Drew. You know that this one cuts a little different for me. So I know this shit real well. I know this kind of shit real well. That kind of judo,
I should have given you a trigger warning.
I got like I'm a third Dan black belt in this shit. This would have never worked for me. This I would have dodged this situation easily, and I mean factually, like personality. Give me a break.
Then she said, "I'm so angry that they did arresting him, and I'm sorry you're in this position. I will make sure nothing happens about this. Told them it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. I only just got out of hospital. Oh man, just call me when you're out." And then next message, I love you. Then next message after that, he hasn't responded. It's been 3 hours. They just called me again to check on me, and I reiterated how this was not an attack and they do not have my blessing on any charges being placed. I read the paper they gave me about strangulation, and I said point blank, this did not occur and should be removed immediately. The judge is definitely going to be told this. She ensured this to me. I know you have the best team and there's nothing to worry about. First of all, who says I know you have the best team? Like, this is just so weird. I was just like,
it's somebody who's calculating, somebody who's telling you one thing and telling other people another. They've
which also makes me think, like, is this the lawyer? This is giving lawyer. Like, what? Who says this? Like, even in the midst of like some sort of personal fucking dispute, I know you've got the best team. Like, what?
This is odd.
Man. It's odd, right? And so I know you've got the best team. Like, yo, shout out to us and how we lawyered this.
This is a dope commercial. Great marketing. They're not even lawyers, it's a marketing team.
I also said to tell the judge to know that the origin of the call was to do with me collapsing and passing out and your worry as my partner due to our communication prior. Out of care. She promised all will be relayed. Oh, man. Koku says she's in a neck brace on the sofa. She's not typing this.
This shit is goof. This whole... To your point, this is why you never want to be this famous, because then shit gets goofy. Yeah. And this is why, listen, I'm not stupid, but this is why there's two documentaries about Michael Jackson that say opposite things, that are like research documentaries that include some of the same people. Yeah. You never want to be this famous, because then your world breaks. Shit stops having to make sense. Things that wouldn't make sense for a normal person will make sense for you. People will do things. They'll go so far out of their way to be involved in your life that they do shit that people think, nah, you must have did that. Maybe, but it's just everything is just fucking bonkers, bro. I don't understand.
Koku says, how many times have y'all passed out due to a partner? And we're not talking kink, LMAO. And I said, listen, I'm not policing consensual hands on throats. I'm not policing that, because then we're in a whole different territory. I think what's difficult with this major situation is that it calls up the American history of everything since what was the film? What was the first like recorded film in American history? It was
Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation, right? This recalls, right, like
a blackface ape nigger stealing a white lady.
Yeah. And so everything in the news, it all stems from that culturally. Like, that's like the historical fact of it, which is that we're influenced by that. Like, it's giving Native Son vibes. Like, okay, Bigger Thomas, like you abducted the white woman, and like, and also like that's seemingly that may be part of his profile. Like, that's his MO. It's like, he's like, yo, I'm going to, on the low, be dealing with these type of situations and be maybe a little violent, according to people who have dealt with him in the past. And then now I think the thing that kills him, and that's why he's really done, that he's going to be done after this. Like, I don't think there's coming back from this, is that he was trying to be the Black Brute in his roles too. Like, the Creed, he's completely like roided out in that Creed role. He's huge. He's humongous. In the Lovecraft, he's still like bigger, and he's muscular, but in Creed it's like, oh, now you're a monster. Now it's like, now you have like an inner monster that you're wanting to show people. And then I think the documentary that's supposed to be coming out about his last year of fame, it has a lot to do with like body image and about like how building up his body created these expectations. But it's supposed to be something that people are intrigued in. It was at Sundance, or they're intrigued about. It was at Sundance, and I was like, whoa, buddy, you better
put that shit on the shelf.
Exactly.
That's a dust call.
You better not show niggas you bench pressing while you got the chokehold charges on you.
Hey, remember the dude who did a movie about Nate Turner? I don't remember his name now.
Matt Turner. Yeah. Oh, it was Nate Parker. It was Nate
I knew,
Parker
I knew,
and
I knew it was close.
Matt Turner.
And he was like similar, right? He was in the movie with Denzel about the right, similar kind of trajectory. He had a little weight. He could have. And then where's he at?
Yeah.
What movies he be making?
Gone. Yo, he's not making no A-listers. And that's the thing. Denzel taught us early. He was like, I ain't even gonna be in scenes with white women. He's like, you ain't putting that juju on me, bro. He said,
Robert, no, thank you. No, thank you.
From early, dog. And
I'm gonna be
like, I'm not gonna say it's right, but you said what?
I'm gonna be in the Mighty Quinn and Mississippi Masala. You said that's big choices. Like, nah, bro.
I'm wondering. Koku is asking if we think he's gonna come back from it. I don't think so. But what do you think? What do you think is even possible here for him? Like, how does this play out?
I honestly think nowadays it is possible for him to recover, but it's gonna be a different thing. I think it's gonna be okay. Because he was it seemed like he was being given something that doesn't belong to actually anybody. That's the thing. Fame is this thing that, like, at a certain point you just get, right? Like, that like has legs beyond even your own personality. People just give you credit for shit, and he was about to get that. And to be real, I didn't quite totally understand it. I'll say in a similar way as when you know this, and this is no hate, but I said this then. I didn't understand it when Meg first got it, when it just took off. Like, I was like, I get her a talent, but just the like thing taking off, I was like,
right.
Okay, cool, okay. And in the same way, right? Like that thing, when the thing, it's like, nah, you lose that. Then it just becomes based on the merit of what you do. We might still let you rock on the merit of what you do because you didn't violate. You're still free. You're still free, and you're still a kind of person that there isn't an exact replica for. So sure, yeah, we'll let you do that thing sometimes, especially if you take a cut rate now, right? It could be a different thing. But even that's, I don't know. To be real, I don't know.
But
because you can replace that.
Nate Parker. I'm going to cut us here because my Wi-Fi is going nuts, but this is good, and I'm just going to post it like this because I like this discussion.
Yeah, we just wrapping out. Koku, thank you so much. You made it even more fun.
Peace.
All right.